recording is going. By the way, Darin, we'll have the replay up a little bit later tonight, and we'll make sure and tag you in it so you can share the replay on social if you would
Awesome.
like.
That would be great. Appreciate it.
Cool. 4, 3. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Prep Huddle Live here on StriveSports.com. I'm Eric Allgood. We've got a big show lined up for you. Lots of wrestling. That was one of the comments that we heard from last week, is that we didn't talk near enough about it. So it's a wrestling-centric kind of night as the Grapplers are full swing into their season. And Tony Chapman joins us in Grand Island. And Tony, as we get ready for a big show tonight, it's a big show every week, but it seems like with the wrestlers, it's just a little bit more prominent this evening.
The wrestlers have a lot of passion, Eric Allgood. So this one's going to be fun. We're going to have Darin Garfield on here in just a minute, the head coach over at Central City. And they're 5th in the latest Class C rankings, and he's led them to a state championship here a few years ago. Great tradition he's built there in Central City. We're going to have Ross Halford from HuskerMat.com. Nobody knows wrestling in Nebraska more than Ross, so that will be great. He will educate us and our viewers tonight. And then at the end of the show, I know you had some fun with Matt Kern's York Duke senior girls basketball team yesterday. We'll play that interview. The Lady Dukes are 3rd in Class B and 9th in the World Herald all-class ranking. So should be a fun show.
One quick note about the girls' interview. It was so good, and all 4 of them were fantastic, that we were like, it got to be like a 15-minute interview. So what we decided to do was actually cut it down just a little bit for the show tonight. So you're going to hear basically an edited version for tonight, but on social media, you will be able to find our SoundCloud link for the full unedited, the uncut version, if you will, the director's edition. So that's with the girls, and that'll be up a little bit later on this evening. First off, though, tonight we'd like to welcome our first guest on the Truck Center Company's hotline, Central City Wrestling coach Darin Garfield. Coach, thanks a lot for taking some time with us here tonight on a Wednesday. I know there's no rest for the weary, but thanks for joining us here tonight.
Hey, my pleasure. I appreciate you guys having me.
Obviously, you guys have had a really nice start to the season, so kind of take us through the season that you guys have had so far. Obviously, you had a nice win in your own invite this past weekend, but the season so far is going well.
Yeah, we, not unlike most other coaches, I really preach to our guys that we use every week, kind of a stepping stone, a building block to build on and keep moving forward every week, just keep working in the right direction. Things so far going fairly well for us. We were able to win Broken Bow invite. We were runner-up at a pretty tough Crete tournament. Also, we're able to win the tournament over at Pierce, and we won our own invite and, throw in a couple of duels in there. Pretty decent start this season, but, always got to be looking forward and enjoy what you've done, but keep moving forward with it.
Coach, you've got 2 top-ranked wrestlers in Class C, and Jeremiah Dickinson at 138 and Ryan Milosic at 160. Can you tell us about those 2 guys, kind of how they've performed this year, and then maybe more importantly, the leadership that they give the rest of your team?
Definitely. They're both kind of our table setters. Our team goes how they go. Both of those guys have quite the resume already. They're both 2-time state medalists already, both just have accomplished a lot of great things. But the thing that's missing with both of them still is that elusive state championship. And they both got a chance at it, but nothing's going to be given to them. And our other guys in the room really look to them and see what they're doing, in practices, and it feeds off of itself. And having both those guys in position to do some really fun things really does benefit our team, because they see how they're going about their business, what they're doing to have success, and then they realize they got to kind of do the same thing to keep pace.
Coach, coming up here in a couple of weeks, you guys have a unique event that is on the horizon with your brother Derek, who's the coach at Fairbury, with your duel that's been that I think you guys have dubbed Pack the Pack, right? Tell us about that and kind of what that's all about.
Yeah, we are really excited about this. Here a couple of years ago, Central City was able to build a brand new theater. It's our Performing Arts Center, which is the PAC for PAC. We have dubbed it as Pack the Pack. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be something. There's some other places that have done similar stuff, but we're going to try and crank ours up to reach, something that's never been done before. It's kind of a neat deal that you can bring in an idea that maybe is fresh or new around the state, and throw in the fact that it's against Fairbury, and which is a very, very solid team, and be able to bring them in, and it's going to be a great duel. But we have a lot of exciting things going on. It's going to be filled with a lot of lights and music, and it's something that our community can be proud of. And the facility that we have is second to none. This new facility that has come into our school, and we want to showcase that at the same time, and maybe we'll be able to draw in some fans that normally wouldn't be apt to go to a wrestling duel, maybe bring in some of those other types of people to maybe see what our sport has to offer. And so that's kind of our main focus on it.
That's awesome. My road trip might be in order there, Eric. All good. We might have to go. We might have to go watch that one. So, Coach, about just a month left in the season, 35 days or so until Omaha. Tell us kind of what you're most looking forward to. I know you get conference and districts coming up, and then maybe highlight some guys. We talked about Jeremiah and Ryan, but maybe some guys that might be able to have an impact for you as conference and district time comes, and maybe make an impact for you down in Omaha.
You bet. We are, like you said, you get down to crunch time. It is crazy how fast time goes. We preach to our guys every day. We got to focus on get better today if we're going to have any hopes of having being able to accomplish our goals in February. But we are a very senior-heavy team, led by, of course, our two returning state medalists. But we also have guys like Brad Shuck at 182 pounds, and I think he's found himself in the rankings here. I think he's ranked 5th or something. We don't look too closely at him, but I know a lot of people do. We got another guy, Marshall McCowski, 195-pounder, also a senior that's been in the rankings most of the year. But we have 9 starters in our lineup that are all seniors. They've come through our program, and we really love the fact that Central City, that these are all Central City born and raised kids. They're guys that have been in our program since most of them were in kindergarten. To be able to see them come all the way through the program and have an impact on our entire program is absolutely as cool as it gets for me. And just to be a part of that process, that journey, as you would from the time of kindergarten all the way through. But 9 seniors in the lineup, and so we've kind of been looking at this year for a while as being one that maybe we can achieve some really cool things.
Coach, last one before you go. You guys have qualified for the state dual tournament out in Kearney each of the first 3 years that's been held. Going into year 4, how much has that event meant to the kids at your program to be able to wrestle in that, and more importantly for wrestling in general in the state of Nebraska?
I absolutely love this. Love the event. We preach it all year long that we want to be there. To me, it's anytime you can showcase wrestling, anytime that we can add something to wrestling, it is a great day. And so we want to be part of it every single year. I don't know exactly how many teams have been able to say that they've made it all 3 years, and there's several, but we're happy to be one of those teams. We include that in our, in our goals throughout the year. We want to be there. We want to extend our season an extra week. And it's another thing is you got guys that maybe didn't qualify for the state tournament in Omaha the week before. That's something they can still feel really good about, is the fact that they can still help the team as you go on to the state duels. It still keeps them active. It keeps them excited, and so they're competing at the state level, even though maybe they weren't fortunate enough to qualify for the individual tournament. And it's like I said, anytime we can showcase wrestling, and the timing I've heard people say could be better, but to me it's the best time for it. It really is. And our guys every year, the last 3 years, have been excited about it. It's never been a situation where we had to try and motivate them. They're ready to go. They love being a part of it, and we want to continue to be, and that's always going to be one of our goals.
Well, Coach, it has been a lot of fun to kind of keep tabs on you guys. Obviously, big congratulations on your success so far, and we look forward to what lies ahead for the Bison and for you in the rest of this season. And give us one more time as we say goodbye, the details on Pack the Pack.
Pack the Pack would be the Tuesday. I think it's the 26th of January. Fairbury versus Central City, Pack the Pack at our fine arts facility in Central City, and it's going to be a heck of a fun night. 6 o'clock. Come out and just enjoy a special event, something that has not been done too many times in the state of Nebraska.
Sounds fun, Coach. Thanks a lot.
Hey, you bet. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, folks, we're going to take a short break, but coming up, we'll come back and talk with Ross Halford of HuskerMat.com. Prep Huddle Live is brought to you in part by Dickey's Barbecue in York, where you can get pulled pork sliders for just $1 each. Taylor, are you getting this? Yes. Get yourself a mountain. There it is, the mountain of sliders at Dickey's Barbecue in York. Of course, there are delicious sides and ice cream to go with it. The best phone number you've heard, 402-362-4BBQ. Great for catering ideas as well. This is Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com. Home-cooked favorites and online ordering so you can skip the line. That's what you'll find at Dickey's Barbecue in York. Log on to Dickeys.com, select the York address, sign in, or create a profile, and you'll be ordering delicious barbecue in just seconds. Choose from a variety of meats like brisket, pulled pork, chicken breast, or sausage. Add a home-style side like waffle iron fries, fried onion tanglers, barbecue beans, and even fried okra. You won't go away hungry. Try Dickey's Barbecue today and log on to Dickeys.com. Kids eat free on Sundays.
I love it. It's fun. It's a fun industry to be in. Meet lots of different people, do lots of different stuff. There's always something new happening, so.
So far, I've been enjoying it since I've been here. It's been great, learning new stuff every day. I recommend anyone coming and work here because so far the working environment's friendly, everyone's kind, and also the new guys that come here, they'll gain the confidence that they need just to come and work.
I like how everybody around here is, we all kind of become real good friends. It's like a second family here. It's not something you would come to just work for a month or two. It's something you'll want to stick with forever.
Seedsmanship is what truly sets Channel Seed apart from other seed brands. It's our unmatched ability to provide you with the expert advice and customized service that helps you get the most yield out of your acres. It's the added value of year-round service combined with elite seed products that you only get from Channel Seed. At Channel, we know the importance of staying connected. As seed experts, we look to get the most out of your fields by putting ourselves in them throughout the season. That's seedsmanship at work.
Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
All right, well, we are back here on Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com, and we are pleased to welcome back to the show, first time I get to talk to him, Ross Halford of HuskerMat.com, in places far unknown, because apparently we have a new thing on our show now where we call people from literally all parts of the country. Last week, Mike Sauter was in Chicago when we talked. This week, Ross is down in New Mexico or something. So, Ross, thanks for coming back on the show with us.
Great to be here, guys. Appreciate it.
We want to kind of get your thoughts, maybe in general, if you will, and maybe with a few specifics as we go down through the classes of wrestling. We're going to start with Class A, where Tony was giving me some notes beforehand, and he said the first one is, can anybody hang with Millard South this year?
Well, I mean, as far as like hang with them, I suppose, that they're probably not going to get 250 state tournament points, but I guess the answer is no. I don't think anybody will catch them this year. They have too much firepower in the top of their lineup, and the rest of Class A, while you have some solid teams there, they're just not at Millard South's level. This is a veteran, a Patriot group, and always well coached. With Coach Denson and Manili, and behind them, you really have a mad scramble, I think, for that second spot. I've said it since the beginning of the year that, anybody from Kearney to Grand Island to Columbus to Norfolk, there's a lot of teams right in between there, Lincoln Southwest. I'm not leaving anybody out, but I think the real race is for second place in Class A, and that should be where your state tournament storyline comes from in Class A.
Who might be some of those individuals in Class A that maybe jump off the page a little more than some of the others?
Well, certainly you talk about Isaac Galoa, the senior out of Millard South. He's a three-time state champion. He signed with UNK, so he'll wrestle for Coach Bauer's team starting next year. And on pace for all kinds of records as well, but he's seeking his fourth state title. He would be the 26th wrestler in Nebraska history to accomplish that feat. So he certainly sits at the top, but, it's a real, it's a year where there's a lot of talent in Class A, and, it's hard to pick out all the great kids, up and down the lineup there. But you look at the top of Class A, almost every weight, the 1 and 2 kids are just absolutely dynamite. And look at that Metro tournament this week, Metro Duels Metro tournament at Omaha North Friday, Saturday, and of course you have half of Class A that's there, and we're going to get a lot better idea about where these teams shape up against each other. So.
Well, let's kind of move into Class B. Maybe as you look at the team race, I know we have York, a Strive School, is ranked 8th in the top 10 there, but as has been the case for Geesh, it seems like pretty much the whole century is this one Omaha Skuts to lose again on the team side in Class B.
Well, it's kind of interesting. Of course, you guys know that I have my own ratings, and of course, we also have the great organization, the NSWCA. They do their ratings as well, and And last week, based on some things, with Omaha Scud, it's kind of a rarity. I did move them out of the top spot. In the 20 years that I've been doing this, they've set number 1 for almost the entire time. There's been a few times where we moved them around, but I replaced them with Platt Smith. But one of the reasons why is because Scud had a key departure, but my understanding is he'll be back now, and with him back in the lineup there, I move him back up to the top again, or I will when we have the next ratings. And they're just so top heavy. They have so much firepower in that lineup, and potentially things go right for them. I mean, you're talking about 7, state finalists perhaps, and we've seen that before with some of their great teams that they have. They might not have the depth they've had in the past, but as far as a top end talent, they're as good as anybody.
One of the classes I wanted to kind of maybe highlight for us in Class B is obviously at heavyweight. We've got a couple of Stripe kids maybe near the top of the rankings there. Arturo Chavez at Schuyler, and then Marvin Lazo at York, but they're kind of battling with Ben Stilley from Ashland Greenwood, the Nebraska football recruit who moved up to heavyweight. And it sounds like he's, last I read, he's almost not even at heavyweight weight. He's still only wrestling at about 225 maybe. So maybe your thoughts on that class and how that might shake out in Omaha come February.
Well, Class B heavyweight, you mentioned Ben Still from Ashland Greenwood, and he's dominant. My understanding is he probably weighs about 245 or 250. Actually, he's been. They said he's really lifted weights, but he's quick like a 220 or a 195, and he's already beaten Justin Hennessy multiple times this year out of Waverly, and I just don't see anybody that will even come close to him. He's a great talent, and he as good of a football player as he is and as he'll be, he will probably he would probably be as good of a college wrestler as well. But a competitive weight behind him. But really, you look at that EMC duels last week, and we got a lot of clarity on Class B heavyweight because I have 4 rated wrestlers from the EMC conference, and they all kind of went head to head, and so we have a little bit more understanding, I think, of how that weight will come about at the state tournament. So
maybe go into Class C and give us kind of your thoughts there. The rankings of the Coaches Association, we saw Valentine as kind of the number 1 team there, and I know Wilbur Claytonia for us in Central City are kind of in that top 5. Maybe your thoughts on the team race there and how that might shake out.
Well, I think it's a 2-team race. It has been since the beginning of the year. When you talk about Valentine and David City, just more depth than anybody else, all those other teams in Class C, really complete. They went head-to-head at the Valentine tournament before Christmas. Valentine won that tournament, and that included Class B number 1 Platt Smith as well. But I'm a little concerned about Valentine right now. They didn't wrestle real well last week at Burwell. I think that they've really got to step it up at 38 and 45, where they have 2 returning state runners-up that are not wrestling like returning state runner-up right now, and that tempts me to push David City into that top spot again. Saw them last week at High Plains, and they'll get Wyatt Phillips back. He's their 126-pounder. He's just a great talent, and he got injured up at the Valentine tournament, so that kind of dipped into some of their final, team points up there. But looking at them last week, David City, they look like they're hitting on all cylinders right now, and I would tell you right now that if the state tournament was tomorrow, I would probably not hesitate to say David City would be your Class C champion at this point.
Coach, one guy we like watching wrestle last year as a freshman was Max Hughes at Syracuse. He's I think he was a 106 champ last year, and he's up to 113 this year. Your thoughts on how he wrestles and maybe the opportunity for him to be that one of those rare 4-time state champions?
Well, tremendous competitor. You saw that in the state finals last year in his victory. Of course, they were Class B a year ago, won the Class B state title. Syracuse drops down to Class C with classification changes this year. And I've gotten a chance to see him a couple times this year. Saw him the opening week at York and then at the Flatwater in Grand Island. And he, again, is a kid right now that seems to be hitting his stride. Had a early season loss to Chance Fry out of Lincoln Southeast, who he avenged that loss to this past week as well. And he's also lost to Class A #1 Jake Stogdill, real great match at York. And so his 2 losses are very respectable, and obviously has avenged one of them. But he's in a bracket that has a returning state champion from Valentine and Jordan Kelber, and then you have the upstart freshman from Wood River, Evan Waddington, who's unbeaten, actually pinned Kelber last week at the Burwell Invite. So it looks to me right now that Waddington is the real deal, and that will be Max Hughes' I think, biggest challenge if he wants to get another state title.
Ross, then as we go down to Class D, Amherst looks really strong this year, and also one of our Strive schools, Creighton, seems like maybe they might be a top challenger.
Certainly, Amherst, they're just a perennial program. I think they've won 6 straight Class D state titles. Who's counting at this point? But they seem to be, early on in the year, I thought, well, maybe they weren't wrestling as well, but it seemed like they adjusted their lineup a little bit. And I think you've seen them, the Sutherland end right before Christmas in their own home tournament. I thought you saw some great performances from their kids. They look really good in the upper weights right now. I think, once you get to about 60, 52, 60, and then get up into that some of those upper weights, they look really good. But a clear favorite. They're not what they once were. They had some great teams over the years, but still a prohibitive favorite in Class D. Coach Herman does an awesome job out there. They're of course going into a very difficult tournament this week at Kearney with the UNK Midwest Classic. It's a 26-team dual tournament, I believe, and they're going to see some of the best teams from this state, and good to see that kind of scheduling from them, because that certainly will help them down the road. And Creighton has been my number 2 team all season long, and again, they don't have the depth that Amherst has, but top end points with the Hazens, and they've got Ian Stackin at 170, and Garrett Zimmer, a returning state champion, at 126 as well. So they look like a solid number 2 team right now, but they'll have some competition at the state level. So some good quality teams behind them with Elm Creek, Neely, Oakdale, North Platte, St. Pat's, and Burwell moving up fast in Class D. So.
And then, Ross, individually, there's a couple of guys that we wanted you to maybe talk about a little bit. Jaden Elge at Nebraska Christian at 145. Samua Baptista at Friend at 160. I know Baptista's going off to Iowa State to further his college career.
Yeah, Jaden Elge, he's a returning state champion from Nebraska Christian in Class D. He's wrestling 145. He actually had his first loss of the year this year up at the Aquinas Invite this last week. Lost to Class B #1 Bill Aducey out of Boys Town, 6-5. So very respectable match against a super talented kid from higher classification. But he has had a couple of decent matches against Class D competition this year, namely at that Elgin Public Pope John tournament before Christmas. the West Holt kid, who gave him a decent match, and then won by a couple points in the finals over Pelster. So don't crown him yet. He's certainly a favorite, though, at that weight as well. He's a great talent. Does a lot of off-season wrestling and does a great job with that too. And you also wanted me to talk about. Sorry about that. You had another one
about Zamua Baptista there at Friend.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Baptista, he at 160. You're right. He signed with Iowa State. Interesting, story with him. He's a great football player for Friend, and decided this year to concentrate on wrestling. He mentioned he had been kind of beat up going into the wrestling season in prior years, and so he sacrificed the football season. I think it's paying off for him. He had a great preseason. When we talk about preseason, had a couple of tournaments in Iowa that are national level tournaments that he did really well at, and he's certainly one of the top 5 wrestlers overall in the state of Nebraska, and great talent. Seems like a very humble kid, and I think he's going to be a great fit up at Iowa State in the future. And you talk about a kid that is as big of a favorite as probably any wrestler in the state this year to bring home another state title. So
the website is huskermat.com. That is Ross Halford. We look forward to maybe another conversation as we get into February. Ross, thanks a lot for the time here tonight on Prep Huddle Live.
Appreciate having me. Thank you so much.
All right, folks, we're going to take another quick commercial break, and when we come back, the ever-popular and very much anticipated interview with the senior girls at the York basketball team. That is next on Prep Huddle Live.
Seedsmanship is what truly sets Channel Seed apart from other seed brands. It's our unmatched ability to provide you with the expert advice and customized service that helps you get the most yield out of your acres. It's the added value of year-round service combined with elite seed products that you only get from Channel Seed. At Channel, we know the importance of staying connected. As seed experts, we look to get the most out of your fields by putting ourselves in them throughout the season. That's seedsmanship at work.
I never really imagined that I would be a diesel technician. I started out in a whole different other field and then kind of worked my way and stumbled my way into it, and I enjoy every day of it.
The people that I work with are great. Even if you're having a bad day, they find some way to try to make you laugh or smile to try to brighten your day up. It'll be a life-changing opportunity. So there's a lot of good things that this company has to offer.
Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here.
Home-cooked favorites and online ordering so you can skip the line. That's what you'll find at Dickey's Barbecue in York. Log on to dickeys.com, select the York address, sign in, or create a profile, and you'll be ordering delicious barbecue in just seconds. Choose from a variety of meats like brisket, pulled pork, chicken breast, or sausage. Add a home-style side like waffle iron fries, fried onion tanglers, barbecue beans, and even fried okra. You won't go away hungry. Try Dickey's Barbecue today and log on to dickeys.com. Kids eat free on Sundays.
We're back here on Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com. Yesterday, I had a chance to sneak over to York High School and talk with the senior girls on the basketball team before their game against Grand Island Central Catholic. The Dukes would win that game last evening over the Crusaders. We talked about the season that the girls have had so far and kind of lessons learned in wins and losses, just one loss so far this year. What we have here today, though, right now, is the condensed version. We cut it down a little bit to fit within the show, but you can see and, I should say, watch and listen to the full interview that we have that on the SoundCloud right now, and so it'll be available on iTunes as well, and will be shared socially coming up in 5 minutes from now. So that is coming up on social media. But for now, the condensed version of the words with the York girls. Prep Huddle live on StriveSports.com. We've got the York senior girls on the basketball team: Emma Grenfell, Jordyn Stearns, Hayley Burke, and Lauren Horras. Say hello to everyone, ladies.
Hi.
All in unison, too. Obviously, the season has gone really well for you guys. You can all take turns if you want and answer every question. That makes it more fun that way to see what everyone says. So talk about what the season has been like for you guys individually and as a team. Obviously, you guys have been off to a great start, had a good early season win. The double overtime win over Waverly was probably a highlight so far. But talk about what you guys have gone through individually. Lauren, we can start with you.
Individually? I don't know. After the Elkhorn game, I think that we've grown a lot since that win because, of course, we came in with high expectations and getting a loss wasn't fun, but we realized after that we needed to come together and we needed to work harder. And so we have, and our practices have been a lot. We've been more focused, and it's been a lot of fun playing with these girls.
Hayley?
Like Lauren said, as an individual, I think I'm more focused, especially after that loss. I do not like to lose, so I was like, all right, let's go. I don't want to lose anymore, so just more focused, more like seeing the goal you have and where you need to get there and stuff.
Jordyn?
My turn. As an individual, I have set goals for myself and trying to reach those as I have goals for the team too. By the end of the season, I hope we can reach them all. The Elkhorn game has told us that we need to focus more on our practicing and be ready to go at every practice, and we can't take a day off, really.
I would say just focusing in on just continuing to be a leader, all four of us. After that loss, it's kind of on the seniors to start having better practices and stuff like that, so we had to focus in, and I'd say we've really done that and led better practices.
And obviously, as a championship is everybody's dream when they first start practice, and it starts, summer stuff, and you guys, I know, do so much of that stuff. But what, as you go through the rest of the year, and there's a lot of basketball before you even get to the postseason, what does it take, maybe mostly from a mental standpoint, to get the team ready, you guys, the senior leaders, to get everyone ready to say, we're going to make this run, and we're going to be our best at the end of the season?
I think, honestly, the biggest thing is to continue to have focused practices and not let us have a bad practice. And, we need to keep getting better at that, but we've all played in big-time games and stuff, and even with softball. And so I don't think, I think we'll be prepared for the pressure situations, but practices is what will really lead us into where we want to be.
I think something that's important as we get to near the postseason is just we need to stay together and realize that we only have so much time left together, and just focusing on our goals and understanding that this is a really special moment for this team. And if we just focus and we know our roles and we stay together, I think that's what's going to be the biggest part of us in the postseason.
Okay, now we're done with the serious stuff. So now the fun stuff. And some of these kind of go as rapid fire unless you have a funny story to tell about them. So in the same spirit that I asked the Cross County boys last week, who is the best singer on the team?
Singer? Oh.
Gal thinks it's Tate.
Well, we sing after our games in the locker room, and I think we've improved, but it's a little rough. None of us are really the best singers.
Well, I want to kind of stop that there, because the locker rooms, the celebrations that we've seen on Twitter are becoming epic, I believe, actually. So what has spurred that? Is that just the kind of the release of the emotion of the night?
Well, just kind of reminding us to truly enjoy every win. It helps us to, even if you have a bad game, it kind of loosens us up.
And last year we started singing Lean On Me. At first, a lot of us didn't know the words, but now we all know the words, and it's fun to sing. And we even sing it after losses, just to remind remind ourselves that we're still together. We're still a team. It's not over yet.
So, did we say who was the best singer then? We probably did.
Singer. I don't know, it's hard.
Definitely not me.
Not Jordyn.
Not Jordyn.
Not
Okay.
Jordyn.
I think Lauren or Emma.
Woo.
Hey, look at that.
As nominated by Haley. Of course. Okay, well, then maybe it would be easier to find the best dancer.
Okay, I'm gonna say Coach Ziering.
He's really brought out the moves.
I don't know if he's good, but
he has a new move after every game, so I'm gonna give him credit for
He
that.
hasn't done it for a while though.
I don't know. He's
just
a good
gonna
one.
stand here and chills now.
Yeah.
We're pretty competitive with our dance room.
Very competitive.
Gallagher, definitely Gal.
Gal's weird.
His weird dance moves.
And then I always need to ask, has anyone challenged Coach to a shooting contest? And have you won?
No, we haven't yet.
Nobody. Okay.
Well,
might have to.
He does make a lot of shots, though. So
Yeah.
He tries to miss, and
he makes some. He's like, I'm trying to miss, but I keep making them. So.
Yeah, coaches do that sometimes. It's funny how that works. So obviously plenty to play for the rest of the year, and we wish you guys the best of luck the rest of the way. Emma Grenfell, Jordyn Stearns, Hayley Burke, and Lauren Horras, thanks for joining us on Prep Huddle Live.
Thank you.
Go Dukes.
All right, that is, like we said, just a portion of the fantastic interview that the York senior girls had. A lot of fun, and they're obviously enjoying it. And if you've seen the Twitter dancing and singing, then obviously you have a big idea why so far. Tony, as we get to the end of our show, we come up with the Strive 5 or somewhere in that approximation. We call it the Strive 5 for football, but it could be the Strive whatever number. It was a big number last week, but the best games to watch on the respective Strive channels, we try to pick some from just about every day of the week. A good one tomorrow is one of the classic Western Nebraska rivalries, especially with the guys. It gets a little more amped up when Gothenburg goes to Cozad.
Yeah, you always throw them out when any of those Dawson County schools play each other. I always remember my dad, who was a Lexington High grad, telling about how Cozad and Lexington used to brand each other's football fields in the 60s. So Gothenburg and Cozad will be fun. That was one of our most watched boys games we had last year. Gothenburg 10-3 and Cozad on a 3-game losing streak here. But again, you kind of at home, you kind of throw those records out. So that'll be a good one. Should be fun tomorrow night in Cozad.
Then on Friday, we get to a Class A matchup in the top 10. Number 3, Papillion La Vista at number 9, Millard West. And maybe one of the headlines there is a kid that has just got a couple of offers now. One to Creighton. I think he just picked up one to Nebraska as of last night. A chance to watch Ed Chang on the Strive Network.
Yeah, Ed Chang, a 6'7". Wing, a nice feature we had, or that the Omaha World Herald did on him that we had in the dish earlier today. But, you know, Ed's a kid who sounds like he grew up he was short and had a growth spurt, and he's played guard his whole life. So he's got handles, and now he's 6'7". And Coach Dan Moore, know Dan really well from his time at North Platte, and played a lot of golf with him at York Country Club in the summer. So Dan does a great job with Papio there. They're at number 3 in Class A, and then they'll visit number 9, Millard West. That should be a really fun game. Of course, Millard West, 2 of their 3 losses are to Omaha South, and they just upset Millard South last week. So that should be a fun one. Shea Wyatt, we saw him play football. He can play basketball just as well, if not better, for the Wildcats. That should be a great game Friday night and a cool atmosphere over at Millard West.
On Saturday, there's a couple games. The girls and boys matchup should be good on both of them when Heartland goes to Geneva to take on Fillmore Central. Taylor and I haven't decided what we're going to bet on, but we should probably start betting on those games, right? Of course, our alma maters there. The Heartland girls are ranked number 8, and the Heartland boys, Tony, are in the midst of a stretch that is just brutally difficult with the opponents.
Yeah, I'm looking at their schedule right now. Of course, they lost last week to D2 number 2 Riverside, and then they had to follow that up with Cross County, who I believe is ranked 7th now in C2 this week. Then they beat Superior earlier this week, and now it's Fillmore Central, High Plains next week, who's the defending Class D1 champion. That was a great game in Henderson last year that Taylor and I were at. Then they'll go play Sutton, and then it's Nebraska Christian at home. So the rest of the month for the Heartland boys, if they can survive it, get a little momentum, and then they've got to play the first the Southern Nebraska Conference Tournament, and we know how many ranked teams we've got there. Milford, of course, in C1, and so it's just a tough stretch the rest of the year here for Heartland. But those should be, as you said, two really good ones. Heartland girls have just cracked the rankings there in D1, and Fillmore Central's girls, they were off to a quick start. We featured them on the Rewind, so that should be a good one. The first one on Saturday.
One on Saturday is in C2. The number 8 team in the boys' rankings, Elmwood Murdoch, is at Fall City, who is 9-2 and winners of 7 in a row.
Yeah, Elmwood Murdoch is a team that is 8th in the Class C2 rankings by the World Herald. They won their first 10 games and then lost to Syracuse and Johnson County Central kind of back to back there, but bounced back last night with a win over C1 number 8 Lincoln Lutheran. And they'll have Conestoga tomorrow night, and then Saturday they're at Fall City, and they'll follow that up with trips to Milford and Freeman. So as I look at their schedule right now, 4 big games in a row for Elmwood Murdoch as they take that 11-2 record on the road here for the next couple weeks. If they survive that, that should set them up nicely for the postseason, the Knights.
And then a game coming up on Tuesday in Class C2. The number 5 team, Ravenna, travels to the number 6 team in Sutton. Might be a few Be Strong shirts in Sutton that night.
Yeah, I suppose 1 or 2, don't you think? Ravenna's got a really nice team this year, and Sutton's 6th in C2. This has been, they kind of started a rivalry, Coach Spomberg and Coach Baranek, in the mid-2000s, and they've played every year since, and it's just been a great rivalry on both sides because the girls' teams and the boys' teams have both been good for so long, and so this should be a fun one. Again, Ravenna 5th and Sutton 6th in the C2 girls' rankings. That one on Tuesday in Sutton.
So that's kind of the Strive 5 as we see it, and obviously there's some great games. And like we said before, if you wouldn't like to help us pick some Strive 5 games, use the hashtag PrepHuddleLive, and we'll see what we can do about getting your game into the Strive 5. Next events and some happenings coming up for us on StriveSports.com. The Dish is something new, and we've got some new branding. There it is. The Dish. You can go on to our website, StriveSports.com/subscribe, and you can get the Dish straight to your inbox. That is well, what do you call it when it's 3 times a week? It's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when we put it together, featuring a lot of our content. For instance, the Friday show, Friday Dish, will have basically a recap of what we did here tonight. It'll feature the Locker Room podcast that we'll do tomorrow, and it will also feature, Tony, some stories from around the state. And Taylor, this is something that we kind of hatched this plan a little bit. It's been a nice team effort to put this together, Taylor.
Yeah, Tony had this idea over Christmas, and we talked about it at our Christmas party, I think. It just kind of bounced ideas off each other and really came together here after break, and we're going all in on it. So if you want to get this stuff right to your inbox, we'll deliver it to you. Tony and Eric are doing a great job with it, and we're just still testing, getting feedback, and got a logo. So we got a logo up here on the screen. Yeah. Go to StriveSports.com/subscribe. Tony, go ahead.
I got nothing. You guys killed it on that one. Keep talking about other stuff.
Well, then other stuff is the next thing is Snapchat. We have gone all in on Snapchat. There it is, right there. Oh, I can't reach far enough to. You can't even see me on the screen.
We're going studio camera.
But we're going studio camera with the Snapchat though. We're doing a lot more of the behind the scenes stuff with Snapchat. Whenever Taylor's out on the road visiting a school, you can bet that there's going to be some version of a story and kind of go through the day a little bit on what he does there. Lots of Snapchats about different things that we do here in the office. Also with that a little bit is Periscope with. If you follow us on Twitter and followed us on Periscope, you've noticed that we've been able to Periscope directly into Twitter now. And Tony, you and I haven't played with it much, but Taylor and I have. And this seems like a fun new toy for some pregame or postgame interview type settings because you don't have to have the Periscope app to watch our Periscopes now.
Yeah, it's right on
Maybe
your phone.
Maybe
Right
our
in Twitter.
moms would
Twitter
be
app.
happy about that.
Well, if my mom would know what a Twitter was, she would.
Yeah, that's true.
She'd be
That would help.
ecstatic.
Probably.
Hey, real quick though, if you aren't following us on Snapchat, you can, and you have Snapchat, you can hold your phone up to the screen right now, snap a picture, and it'll automatically add us. It's a cool feature. I'm Eric's smiling right now because he's laughing at it's just the middle of the day. I'll start talking. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm talking to Snapchat."
And
friends.
And if I'm not mistaken, if you go on Snapchat right now, part of the story is Taylor Snapchatting me doing the Prep Huddle pre-Periscope. Yeah. We got it all covered.
That sounds confusing.
It kind of is. And boy, if you watch the launch of that feature, it was a Snapchat story. I mean, you watch the Periscope, and then you watch the guy do it, and it was a Periscope of a Periscope of a Periscope. It was an infinite Periscope.
Tony's jealous because he's not on Snapchat yet. He doesn't get it. But that's on your list of goals, right, Tony?
It is. Yep. It's on my New Year's, my 2016 list. I will do some Snapchatting.
And while we're promoting stuff, if you guys want to follow along, Tony's doing something cool this year on Medium, which we're going all in on Medium too. We're doing features on our schools and teachers and students, but Tony is going to be blogging on Medium. 300 posts this year, huh, Tone?
That's the goal. Later tonight, we will remember Lawrence Phillips.
Yeah, such a tragic story in all around. So I'll be looking forward to that one. With that, a big thank you as always to Cornerstone Bank, Truck Center Companies, Channel Seed, and Dickey's Barbecue, which sounds really good right now.
Here, I'll throw up the picture.
Yeah. Please throw the mountain of. There's the mountain of sliders. I know, Tony, you can't see this right now, but I'm drooling. These sliders look amazing. So, let's go head to Dickey's and grab some barbecue, shall we? Thanks to all of our guests who joined us on the Truck Center Company's hotline tonight. And don't forget, the full interview with the York girls is on our SoundCloud, and we'll share that socially here in just a little bit. So thanks for joining us again on another edition of Prep Huddle Live here on StriveSports.com.
But we had 47 people watch.
47 is Tony's.
Yes. I know.
I'm going 52.
Ooh.
I'll go big. I'll say 61. No, 61. I'm going 60 because that's a good number. Yeah, go DJ.
Thanks for watching Prep Huddle Live. If you did watch, we'd love to hear from you. Chat below. Say goodbye, Eric.
Bye, Eric. Oh.
Ooh.